Good day everyone, welcome to AGSC 3019. This is a follow-up video to the one on plant propagation. We have propagated our plants, we've seen evidence of rooting. Now we have to pot the plants. So this video is on potting your propagated plants. So we start by mixing the soil. We mix the soil by having three components. You have topsoil, you have sharp sand, and you have manure, well cured organic manure. Right? So I'm going to put these three together and mix them up. First I'm going to put out my topsoil. Next I'm going to place sharp sand. And then on top of that, I'm going to put my organic manure. Well cured organic manure. This is pen manure. And then I'm going to give it a good mix. Here we have it, our potting soil, with a mix of manure, sharp sand, and topsoil. Next step is to go to the plant and collect my air layered cutting. So a couple of weeks ago, we did air layering, where we air layered the plant, and we are back here now to detach this plant from the parent plant. Alright, so if you look at it carefully, you'll see roots are there. It probably could have developed a little more roots, but for this exercise, I'm going to detach it and show you how we're going to pot the plant. So this is the process. I am going to cut at this point. Right, I'm going to cut at this point. And I'm going to take my plant back to pot it. So I'll remove the leaves, I'll remove the string and the plastic. Probably have to use my knife for that, so let's go back and pot this plant. So I'm going to take off the string and the plastic from this plant. Just remember that this plant was, all the time it was attached to the mother plant. Now I am going to put it by itself, so it has to survive. So I have to give it the conditions for survival. I have to put soil around the roots and then not expose it to too much harsh conditions. Expose it to lighter conditions where it could survive. Alright, so we have some roots there. I'm not going to tamper with those roots at all. I'm going to leave them just as they are. Leave the moss in place. So this is the point where it was detached from the parent plant. Alright, so now it's going to become an independent plant. So let's see how I do that. Now I can use a bag or I can use a pot. I'm using a pot that I think will be appropriate. The plant can stay here for a little while before I transplant it. or put it in a bigger pot. So I'm going to use the size of pot. Now if you notice, this pot has holes in it. So if I don't do something about those holes, I will end up losing all the soil. So this is what I normally do. I take little pieces of styrofoam and I plug the hole. Water can pass through. There's no problem with the water passing through because it's not completely plugged. Just to cover it so that the soil don't fall out. Then I can use some straw, but since I have a lot of this material, I'm going to use this material. This is shredded coconut husk. Put it at the bottom. It will help with retaining the soil. If I have straw, I can put some straw at the base there as dry plant material. Right, so this should be enough to keep in the soil without the pot losing the soil. Right. That's all right. Next, I'm going to fill up this with soil. So I can speed up the process. Right, so I put some soil into the pot. I'm going to tap it because you have a lot of air space there. It's going to settle down in any case with time, so I'm going to tap it a little bit. Then I'm going to measure my plant to see if I need to be deeper or shallower. Probably I can go a little bit around here, so I'll put a bit more soil in it, not too much. That should be enough. So I'm going to place my plant at this height, or depth in fact. Alright, that should be good enough. Then I'm going to hold it in place, make sure it's at the center of the pot, and place my mixed soil around the plant. Firm it gently. Make sure I firm the plant so it doesn't topple over. Tap. Don't need these few leaves here. Right, and I'm going to bring up the soil level. To about an inch from the rim of the pot. And here I have a plant. Here I have my plant. I'm not going to leave it here. I'm going to carry it and give it milder conditions because it's not ready for harsh conditions as yet. I remember I detached this plant from the parent plant, so I have to give it a little milder condition so it could survive. Survival is what I am interested in. So I'm going to take it to put it in a place that is semi-shaded, and it will stay there for observation for a couple of weeks before I put it out under harsher conditions. So I'm going to place the plant here where the conditions will be milder. I'll make sure that I water it. I have to put some water into it, so the roots will continue to absorb moisture and keep the plant rigid. I'll leave it here for about 3 to 4 weeks and observe it. Right, next I'll go to the cuttings. If you remembered, we placed these cuttings into this man-made makeshift propagator and I'm going to take them out to see how many roots they have developed. So let's see how we take out the plant from the propagator. That's a very crucial step. I'll have to send my hand into the sand at the side of the plant and then lift. Let's see if I've been successful. Alright, the sands will fall out and I have a little plant here. It's a plant because it has a root system and a shoot system. Let me take out the others so I could pot them all the same time. Put your hand underneath it and lift. This one seems to be a little more prolific with the roots.
You removing the soil from it?
Yes, you tap it a little bit, the soil will come out. Second one. This one should have, I won't bother with this one because I know it did not, it's a very slow rooting plant. So I'll have to put it back. I didn't see any signs here. I know it was so, but it's still green. So most likely it's going to take a little while. So I'll put this one back. When you're putting back a plant, just make a hole. Place the plant back and pull the soil around it. Make a hole, place the plant and pull the soil around it. The croton, let's see the croton. I am not too sure what happened to the croton, but I'll observe and see what happens. I'm seeing some roots here with the croton.
Yep.
And finally the thyme. This should have a lot of roots. This is an easy rooting plant. So go down at the side and underneath and lift so that I don't break up too many roots. And I have a rooted cotton here. Right, next I'm going to pot these cottons. I'm going to put them in bags. I don't really need big pots for them, or maybe small pots. So I'll take them to my heap of mixed soil and I'll pot the plants. So some of these plants can be potted into potting bags. If I'm using a potting bag, I don't have to put any things to block the holes. The holes are small and they're just there for drainage. So I don't have to put anything in the bags. I put the soil directly into the bag. So I go about doing that.
Cue background music.
Then I will go through the procedure of tapping the bag. I'll measure my plant to see how deep. This is a little too deep. I want it about here. So I'll put some more soil. Right, so I'm satisfied with this depth. The plant is not too deep or too shallow. Alright, I tap my bag, place my plant, put it in place, and then throw soil around it. Firm it a little bit so it doesn't topple over because this soil is loose. Tap, tap, and then pull it up, fill to the level I want. I leave a little space for watering here. So this is good. So I did one plant, that's my croton. Let me do this one into the pot again. So this is a smaller pot. So I go through the procedure of blocking the holes a bit Just to prevent the soil from washing out. You can use a little stone if you want. I put some shredded coconut fibers in here. These shred easily if they have some water in them. If you soak them a bit, they're easier to shred rather than the dry coconut shells. If you soak them in water, they're easier to pull out. Alternatively, you can use some straw like lawn clippings. Alright, so I have my base prepared. I can take the soil now. Let's measure my plant. I think this is a good height, maybe a little bit up again. Let's try it here. Yes, so this is a good height for this plant. I place my soil around it without damaging the roots. Firm it gently. Tap a little bit again. And make sure the level is up till about an inch under the rim of the pot. So when you're watering, it will accommodate the water. The water doesn't roll out or flow out. So we have two plants prepared and potted. Now I'll continue and I'll do these two others. I can put them into bags. This is my podina. If I find, in the case of the podina, if I find it is going to get too long, when I pot it, after I pot it, I'll just nip off the top and then you'll get side branches coming out. So let me show you how I do that. Should I put it in a bag? Right, so let's try the bag. Right, so I did a podina. I got the height I wanted. Now if you find your plant is a little too top heavy, you can remove some of the top, a part of the shoot. So I'll nip it here. Alright, so it won't be too top heavy again. And it will send out side shoots here. So these are my plants ready. I just have one more to go, which I'm going to pot. This one. I'm going to place these plants under similar conditions to what they were before I potted them out. So it's around the same area, same lighting conditions, because I want the plant to produce roots and be independent, where it could stand up on its own. I'll place them here and gradually introduce them to harsher conditions as the weeks go by. So I'll give them some water.